Hello, everybody. This is Jimmy Tingle. Welcome to Meet the Candidates. We have a wonderful guest coming up for you right now. Alanna Mallon is currently serving her second term on the Cambridge City Council and her first as vice mayor. While she was born and raised in Brockton, she has been proud to call Cambridge home since 2004. Alanna and her husband have two children, a rising 11th grader at Cambridge Range and Latin School and an 8th grader at the Vassal Lane Upper School. And Alanna's experience as an active participant in her children's Cambridge public school community was a catalyst to her civic engagement in Cambridge. In 2013, she founded the Cambridge Weekend Backpack Program, which sends food home over the weekend and school breaks with students who don't have enough to eat at home. And she served as Mayor David Mayer's education liaison in 2015 and 2016. She also works at Food for Free, a local food insecurity and food access nonprofit here in Cambridge. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Meet the Candidate series, the one and the only Alanna Mallon. Hello, Alanna.
Hi, Jimmy. Thanks for having me this morning.
Of course. Thank you so much for making time for us. And Alanna, with all those cool things that you're doing and with two kids, why are you running for a third term as Cambridge City Councilor?
It's a great question. I always say I'm a mom of two teens and they keep me busy, but I'm running for a third term to the Cambridge City Council because I love this job. I love serving the community. I've enjoyed my time on the council, even though the last 2 years have been incredibly difficult for so many of our residents through the COVID pandemic. I've never been more honored to serve the residents of Cambridge, and I'm excited at the prospect of serving a third term.
Well, that's great. That's certainly the right reasons. So tell me, over the last a couple of terms that you've served, what would you say your top three priorities are, and what are you looking forward to do moving forward in a next term if you were so fortunate to be elected?
If I am so fortunate to be elected, I look forward to continuing my strong anti-poverty advocacy work on the council. One of the things I have been most passionate about is ending food hunger here in Cambridge and working on income inequality. I first ran for council, as you mentioned. I started the Cambridge Weekend Backpack Program, and I thought I could fill kids' backpacks with food for the rest of my life, or I could run for office and really work on those root issues of why poverty exists here in Cambridge. And that always comes down to safe and affordable housing, workforce development, and income inequality and closing those gaps. So I'm most excited about continuing to work on those issues here in Cambridge. I have been such a strong advocate for building more affordable housing, reforming our zoning code to allow for more affordable housing, and really working on workforce development for our young people and our young adults, and creating those different pathways into great paying jobs here in our community, whether it's on our public safety team or into the building construction trades. I've been doing a lot of that deep work here in the community. And in the last term, one of the things we worked on, myself, the mayor, and Councillor McGovern, is a guaranteed basic income pilot, which means that 130 single caretaker families are now receiving $500 a month for 18 months, no strings attached, to provide an income floor for some of our most vulnerable residents here. So I look forward to continuing that deep anti-poverty work and making sure to close those income inequality gaps here in Cambridge.
Well, that's pretty impressive. How is that system is working, that pilot program, $500 a month? Now, is that city funded? Who funds that?
Yeah, so you can't use taxpayer dollars to fund a program like this. So we worked with our local partners, Harvard, MIT, the Cambridge Community Foundation, some of our larger businesses here in Cambridge to raise $1.3 million to fund this program, which is amazing. We're working with municipalities across the country and using the same data center to hopefully be informing a federal policy for an income floor.
Andrew Yang would be very proud of you, Alanna.
He would, and I have to say, we're already seeing some real strong success with our participants and the relief that they're feeling about having this additional $500 a month and the changes that it's going to be making in their lives.
Great. Tell me, in terms of the housing, I know that's a big priority for you. I know there's a couple of camps in the city. Maybe there's even more than two in terms of the best way to approach housing and create more affordable housing in the city. Which you were endorsed by which organization?
Better Cambridge.
Tell me about A Better Cambridge and what their philosophy is.
A Better Cambridge supported the affordable housing overlay and something called the missing middle zoning petition, which would allow for more infill development to create more housing units here in Cambridge and hopefully decrease costs of housing. For me, it has been about creating more affordable housing. Cambridge is one of the least affordable cities in the country,
Right.
Under San Francisco and New York City. The rents are very, very high here, and ensuring that we keep the diversity and the socioeconomic diversity that is so important to so many of us here in Cambridge. It is critical that we are creating more affordable housing that will allow people, residents who have lived here their whole lives, who have a community here, to be allowed to stay here and live in safe, affordable housing and be able to participate here in Cambridge.
Right. Tell me, I know one of the things that the city council was able to achieve through this pandemic were the extended bike lanes on Mass Ave and the restaurant, supporting the restaurants and outdoor dining. How do you think that is going? And were you involved in that as well?
So those are kind of two different things, but yes, I was an original co-sponsor of the amendment to the cycling safety ordinance, which is now creating 26 miles of protected bike infrastructure across the city. I think it's really incredibly important for us to be creating that safer bike infrastructure and keeping our cyclists safe, as well as mode shifting out of our cars. We are in the middle of a climate emergency, and we need to be doing everything that we can to mode shift to, less gas-powered vehicles and more
Right.
of the cycling. In terms of supporting the restaurants, that has been something that I have been doing since March of 2020. I arranged for Catherine Clark in March of 2020 to come and talk to our small businesses, to our restaurants around what options and grants and loans were available to them through the federal government, through the state government, and here on the local level. I've been an advocate in our local community around the federal government doing a replenishment to the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, which was a $28 billion program from the federal government that only funded 30% of the applicants. So 70% of the applicants here in Cambridge, Massachusetts did not receive a single dollar from that huge fund. And we're calling on Congress to replenish it, because if we don't, a lot of our restaurants are going to be closing shortly.
Right. The reason I connected the two issues, and thank you for pointing out that they're not directly related. The reason I connect them to is because when you drive or bike down Mass Ave, I both drive and bike, and you see the restaurant, you see the outdoor dining, then you see the bike lane, then you see the road. But tell me, I know we lost a lot of parking spaces. I know parking's a big issue with a lot of people who do drive and they work out in the burbs or wherever they work, and for whatever reason they need automobiles. Do you think we can achieve a creative solution in terms of the balance between automobiles and cars and the outdoor dining, automobiles and bikes and the bike paths without, while respecting both parties?
Yeah, I think what you mentioned in Central Square is really amazing. The city was able to work from Harvard Square all the way into Central Square to preserve that outdoor dining and the bike lanes. I think both are achievable. I think the amount of people that are in Central Square each and every night eating out on the patios is incredible, given that Starlight Square is now taking over the big parking lot in Central Square, and a lot of that on-street parking is gone. We are really able to achieve so many people supporting our restaurants and being in Central Square. So I do think that the two can coexist, absolutely.
Right. And what about, and I ask most of the candidates this question, is there any effort to restore parking or have supplemental parking for the spaces that have been lost? And I mean, I as somebody who drives, you see these spaces just dwindling everywhere. And I wonder, is there any plan or any desire on anybody's part to restore any of the parking that has been lost?
So what the traffic and parking department has been able to do, especially on the section between Harvard Square and Central Square, is to move that meter parking onto side streets. And we've been able to preserve a lot of the parking that way.
Great. I'm sure the residents will appreciate that. So, Alanna, we're at the end of our interview. Please give us your closing statement. Why If you want people to vote for you, what number, Alanna, do you want them to vote for you? What sequence? What order? And please give us your website and where people can find you.
Oh, thanks, Jimmy. And thanks to all of your viewers here watching. I am asking for your number one vote on November 2nd to reelect a powerful anti-poverty advocate who's doing deep work in the community with our residents. I don't just make policy from City Hall. I go out into the community. I speak with our residents and I create policy with them and alongside of them. It's been a pleasure and an honor to serve you as the residents of Cambridge as your vice mayor through a pandemic. And I look forward to, should I have the honor of a third term, really working hard for the residents of Cambridge as I have been for the past 4 years. And I look forward to hopefully doing it again. So please consider me for your number one vote on November 2nd. And my website, and my website is alannamallon.org, ALANNAMALLON.org.
Lots of vowels, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Alanna. Great to see you and continued success.
Great to see you too. Thank you, Jimmy.
Best of luck. See you on the trail.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.